What is up, everybody? Thank you so much, man. That was awesome. We have Zach Murillo in the studio. We also have my wife and our chat moderator, Lee, in the studio. She will be taking questions from the audience if anybody has any, making sure we sound good, holding it down as she does. Yeah, man, it's so good to see you again. It's so good to get back in the studio and like hear you play some music. We met a long time ago through Producers Social, and it's been really cool to see you grow as a musician over the past, I don't know, it's been like 8 years, I think, since we started that thing.
It's been a while, yeah. Thank you, man. Thank you.
So you've been producing for like how long? 18, 19 years?
I don't want to do the math, but I started producing in high school and I'm 34 now.
That's awesome.
Wow.
What DAW did you start on? Did you like, cause that was a while ago.
Oh man, it was Cubase, I believe.
You started in Cubase. That's
Cubase
awesome.
And just like built-in sounds on the keyboard, whatever keyboard they had at school.
That's cool. Did you start making, bass music wasn't really a thing there. Like what kind of music did you start making?
I was trying to emulate reggae music because I was listening to a lot of reggae music then. So I was just like, I don't know, trying to make little mini reggae beats, I guess you would say. Yeah, or whatever. Like one of the school assignments was to make a Christmas song, and I made like a Christmas reggae song.
That's awesome. You still have it? No,
definitely not. No.
It's so funny. I wish I still had some of the old stuff that I made. It was so bad, but like sometimes I wish I could like, in 20 years be like, oh my God, listen to this.
Yeah.
I made some silly stuff in the day. Did you play a lot of live instruments and stuff? Did you, when you first started making music, did you incorporate a lot of live stuff, or were you just basically doing electronic music?
When I first started producing, it was mainly just electronics, just because it was easier, I'm just now starting to record myself playing drums just because you need a lot of gear and a lot of knowledge to make it sound good, So pretty much leading up to the past few years, it's been just beats and electronic sounds and whatnot.
You never in any bands or anything in high school, or?
Oh yeah. I mean, I've played in a bunch of bands. Honestly, I didn't really realize that people did electronic music professionally until like I was in college. I went to Ultra and was like, holy crap, all this music that these dubstep guys are playing, like I make this. I didn't know people could do this.
What kind of bands were you in?
All kinds of bands. I mean, reggae bands, pop bands. I was doing like top 40 corporate bands, playing in like weddings and corporate events, and also some hip hop bands and rock bands. Sweet. All kinds of bands. I was playing, with everybody pretty much.
You ever think about doing that again, or are you just mostly focusing on yourself?
Yeah, I mean, I kind of balance my time I still play a lot of drums professionally. So my time in my, professional life is kind of 50-50, playing drums for bands and doing tours and stuff. And then, music production and DJing. So it's I still do both.
Oh, that's cool. So you play as like a player for like touring bands and stuff like that?
Yeah.
Oh, that's cool. I didn't know about that.
Yeah.
That's really cool. Do you come from a musical background? Is your family musical? Did you grow up around a lot of music?
No, actually not. I'm the first of the family to do music. Supposedly someone in my dad's lineage was a musician, but this was, years before. I never knew them, and it's kind of still like a legend at this point.
That's really funny. Yeah. What do they think? Are they supportive? Like,
yeah, everyone's supportive. My dad
awesome.
Definitely was like, didn't really understand it for a while, but then he started definitely coming around.
Same. It takes a minute.
Yeah.
My mom listens to a lot of the streams. We moved to a later time, but at some point my mom was hitting me up like, what's that really fast stuff? I'm like, drum and bass? She's like, I like that.
Yeah,
like, my mom's a junglist, Like, it's great. What advice do you have for new producers? You've been producing a while and you're pretty epic on even live producing and digital producing. Do you have any good any advice for people who are just starting?
I would say don't be too hard on yourself and just have fun and be creative and find whatever inspires you and kind of initially try to emulate that and try to not copy, but take something that's inspiration and then have fun to create your own version of that. It's kind of what I still do today.
Exactly. Yeah, totally. Where do you find your inspiration from?
Music, just other music mainly. obviously I'm a huge fan of music, and if I'm ever in like a creative rut, I'll just kind of take a few days to just listen to music. And I usually end up being like, oh wow, I want to make some music like that. So, like,
Is it mostly electronic, or do you listen to like a wide range of stuff?
it's definitely a wide range. More recently, I would say it's been less electronic. I don't know, maybe it's because I've been home more and just like chilling throughout the pandemic. So I've just been listening to more like listening music as opposed to dance music and like raging music. So most recently, it's a little more on the live side, I guess you could say.
Is that how the last album was birthed? Did you make that over pandemic, or was that before pandemic? Or?
That was pretty much over pandemic. Yeah, it's definitely inspired from just that, that side of my life, the drumming side. And over the pandemic, I kind of finally decided to invest in all the recording gear I needed to record drums. So I started recording myself playing drums, and then, live drums, or just the drums in general when making music, I find really can like set the tone for what the song is going to be, kind of like sets the vibe. So with the acoustic drums, it kind of lended itself to a more acoustic sound. So I just kind of like been exploring that side.
That's awesome. You said you played a lot of the instruments on the album.
Yeah, on the last album, I played the drums and the bass and all the production keyboards. But then I brought in a lot of my friends to do the stuff I couldn't do, like sitars and horns and flutes.
It's beautiful.
Thanks,
it's
man.
incredible. I didn't even know about it. I just discovered it when we booked you. I was like, oh, what's he been up to? I haven't like listened to much over the pandemic. And I was like, wow, this is so like next level.
Oh, thanks, man.
Yeah, I'd love to see it live. You ever plan on doing maybe a live show or a live tour with it, or?
I mean, yeah, that would be great. I would love to do that. It's really hard to say when that's going to happen, just because, live music is coming back slowly. So right now I'm getting booked to do DJ sets just because that's more immediate.
Yep.
So I'm back in the DJ sphere for now. But yeah, definitely at some point I hope to do a more live performance.
Have you played live instruments during your sets before, like DJ sets or anything? Or
No, actually, it's kind of funny because through college and high school, I was just like the drummer who was always lugging around, a 5-piece drum set with cymbals and hardware. So like my whole life, just bringing so much stuff. Like the most stuff was the drummer. And so once I came to LA and started DJing more often, I was like, man, this is great. I just need to bring a laptop. So my DJ sets have been very minimal. And now I'm just bringing around my USB sticks.
It's so nice.
Like,
I just went backwards and bought turntables because, the older you get, I just want to definitely carry records from my shows now. But yeah. I couldn't resist. I got a good deal on them. But
yeah,
I brought in one stack of records today and I was like, oh, I remember why I sold my turntables
it's heavy.
The first time. It's so heavy. They're so heavy.
Yeah.
And just complicated. I was like playing and the bass starts making the needles rattle and stuff. So yeah.
Yeah, but no, I definitely want to start incorporating at least some hand drums and some percussion stuff at first, and then maybe start playing some live bass, electric bass during the parts that has electric bass,
flute or violin with you.
That would be sick.
I know an incredible violinist if you need one.
Oh, nice.
If you're ever playing in the Bay, for sure.
Yeah.
Do you know Allison? Irvine. She used to go to the social.
Oh, I know Allison well. I went to college with her.
Oh, that's so
in
crazy.
Miami, yeah.
Yeah. That's so. I was only going to say because she's from Miami. She plays with me all the time.
Oh, nice.
I was with her this weekend hanging out. She's going to go to our show next weekend. But she's killing it.
Yeah, she's incredible. I didn't go to college with her, but I knew her from Miami community.
So shout out to Wooey out there. Yeah. She's killing it right now. She found her place in the Bay and has just been playing with so many incredible musicians.
Nice.
I'll show you a video. She played with this band Collectivity. Not even Collectivity, it was their other band, the Ben Misterka band. It's amazing. Like she shreds. Nice. But yeah, I'd love to see y'all do something.
Sweet.
That'd be super cool.
Yeah, I had the sorry to cut you off.
No,
but I had the idea to do like a DJ with a horn section, like 2 or 3 horns or violin or something like that. I think would be probably a good way to incorporate.
Be so good, man.
Yeah.
I would definitely pay a lot of money to see that. Like that's I'd like to see that on like a big stage at a festival.
Yeah, it'd be sweet.
So you started DJing kind of a long time after you started producing. Was that what made you want to start DJing? Was it out of necessity, or was it just something that like you're like, I'm going to hone my craft first? Or
it was sort of out of necessity because I was making music on my own, as a solo kind of music production thing. So the easiest way to perform it was as a DJ. And at the time, it was just kind of what was happening around me. And, I moved to LA and I moved in with like some of the Headtron guys, and they were kind of just doing what I wanted to do, which was DJing. And it's just kind of what I ended up doing out here. And it's been great,
Yeah, it opens a lot of doors. It's really nice.
Yeah.
So you grew up in Florida. You were saying you grew up in Miami. When did you move out here? Like, what made you choose to come to LA?
Well, I actually grew up in Orlando.
Oh, cool.
And then I went down to Miami for college and then was playing music there. And then the question was what brought me here?
Yeah.
I just wanted to expand my opportunities because Miami's a great place. It's a great place to kind of like come up as a young musician because it's a smaller city. But there's definitely a little bit of a bubble over it, and you can kind of get stuck doing the same things over and over. So I just wanted to break out and kind of just open up the
How long ago?
That was 2012.
Cool.
Yeah.
Cool. So I met you like pretty much right when you first came out here.
Pretty much.
That's awesome.
Yeah.
Yeah. Produce Social is a good place for that. Like
Yeah.
a lot of people just ended up there somehow. We don't know how, but like,
Yeah, like I said earlier, the Producer Social, that was like the first place where I played my music on set of speakers.
I remember specifically, like we saw so many people come through there, and there's certain people I remember just being like, oh man, like this person's like way better than most of the people here, and like this music's incredible.
Oh, thanks, man.
And yeah, you were definitely one of them. I was like, this dude's gonna be huge. Like I felt it.
Thanks, man.
We were talking about, you were trying to figure out what you use as a DJ name at the time.
Yeah.
Because you shared a name with another really big DJ. So
Oh yeah.
yeah, I remember that whole discussion. It was really funny. So were you inspired at all by like, there's a great bass, like a break space scene in Miami and in Florida. Were you inspired by that at all? Like did you go to any of those parties?
No, not really. I was inspired really it was kind of like an Ultra festival. I don't know if you know Ultra.
Of course. Yeah.
Yeah. Most people I'm sure do know Ultra. Huge rave in Miami. Mm-hmm. I hadn't never really been exposed to electronic music before going to that festival for my first year. And it was around 2010 or something. And it's kind of when dubstep was first coming up in the States. And my buddy who he was pretty in the electronic music world. He took me to the stage, the dubstep stage, and we saw like Banga, Caspa, Rusko, Bass Nectar, the Glitch Mob, like all day, all back to back. And pretty much from then on, I was like, whoa. Yeah. My life just like...
That's a good way to be introduced to dubstep, man. That's like the Godfathers right there.
Caspa, yeah, and there was a lot of like reggae influence. And, I come from that music and I really love reggae music. And just a lot of like in Rusko's music, you can really feel like the roots dub reggae influence. And it was on the huge sound system. And I was just like, holy shit, like, this is incredible. I want to do this.
I love Rusko, man. He used to play a lot around here. I haven't seen him since like Lightning in a Bottle. I think he played years ago. That was one of my favorite sets there because he just played drum and bass, like just like crazy drum and bass the whole time. The crowd was so like, what is this? This is crazy.
It's cool to see that he's still like in the mix.
Yeah. Yeah, for sure.
Yeah, it's really cool.
Got to get him on this show, man.
Yeah,
that's a get right there. I asked if you had any of the hobbies, and you said basically you just do music. Do you spend a lot of your off time? You just spend it in the studio, just working on stuff, or?
Yeah, I'm pretty much just try to get in the studio as much as possible. Yeah, that's pretty much how it's been going down. Before the pandemic, I was on tour a lot playing drums, which was like, a big portion of my income. So I would go on tour and do the thing, and then I would come back and just pretty much be in the studio as much as I could. And now, after the pandemic, it's a little different. It's tough right now for sure. But yeah, I'm just like, making music as much as possible and and hoping for the best and hoping that live music comes back and things start picking up.
For sure. Yeah. I think we've knock on wood. We've rounded that corner though, you know.
Yeah, I hope so.
I've got a live show tomorrow. I'm going to a metal show tomorrow night, and nice. I'm so excited. I haven't been to like an actual live show since before the thing went down, and it was a metal show. I saw Mr. Bungle was like the last show before the pandemic ended, and I get to go see. I'm going to see Spirit Box and Under Oath tomorrow, which is a little bit different.
Wow,
but
cool.
Yeah, it should be pretty fun. I'm excited to actually like hear live instruments.
Yeah, just like being in a group of people enjoying music is something that's to be missed.
I actually lied. I went and saw Tool like 2 weeks ago, but that's a whole other experience. That's not a concert, really. That's like that's a whole experience. So
yeah.
So you dropped a new breaks in drum pack. Have you been working that for a while? Do you have older ones? Is this like a new one, or is this something you're just starting to get into?
No, that's the first of this new venture. Yeah, it's a collection of drum breaks and one shots and percussion loops, and then there's some like 808 sounds and stuff like that.
A lot of live stuff, or
most of the drum one shots and breaks are actual, loops of me playing drums.
That's dope.
But they're processed in a way to kind of sound like hip hop or kind of like beats, as opposed to, I don't know, rock drums.
Where can we find it?
On Gumroad, murillomusic.gumroad.com.
Sweet.
It's also all over my social media right now, so you can check out Facebook or Instagram. You see it's called Pocket Packs.
Sick.
So you can check that out. And,
I spoke with, I think it was LMNOP a couple weeks ago about sample packs, and we were talking about like whether it's right or wrong to use sample packs, and we got into that whole thing. And just for new, I was talking about how I don't think I'd be where I'm at if it wasn't for sample packs when I first started producing. Like learning how to put the puzzle together before you actually try to make the puzzle of your own was like a huge part. And like I'm very grateful for like the dope sample packs. I forget, was it the big one that came out like back in the day that everybody had, and like right when dubs, I forget the name of it. It was like
the Cymatics one.
The Cymatics one, yeah. Like every song sounded the same. That came out for like a good year.
Yeah.
But like I used that to really figure out music structure. I understood, notes and chords and stuff, but just like the actual structure of electronic music, people don't realize kind of how I don't want to say formulaic, but mathematical it is.
Yeah.
And samples really help. And if you're a new producer, don't be afraid to use them,
I mean, that's where I could probably say everyone starts, With the Cymatics thing, it was kind of an era of sample packs before, it was obviously before Splice, but it's like, I didn't really call them sample packs. Mm-hmm. They're just like sounds that your buddies passed around, and you make tracks with those sounds.
It was a lot harder to make original sounds back then too. Now it's so easy to like make stuff, but back then it was like, my venture into making samples has actually been really beneficial for my creative process too, because I spent a lot of time making these breaks for this pack, and not only do I now have these awesome breaks to use in my music, it's kind of like compartmentalized the creative process, where before I kind of decided to do the sample pack, I would go in the studio and spend, hours on the drums, and then it's like half the day is gone, and now you're kind of like your juice is like low, for being creative. Totally. Now it's like these drums are like ready to go. They sound awesome. And I've been having some really good, sessions with the samples. Yeah. That's a good advice also, is make your own sample packs too. And then you just spend a couple weeks just making sounds that you like, and then put them in a folder, and then start working on something. Cause then you hone a sound.
And it's nice because sometimes you get burnt out working on full tracks. And during those times, it's really beneficial to just like make sounds, not necessarily try to make a song, just like make cool sounds. And then when you're ready to make a song, you have like all this awesome stuff ready to go.
Mm-hmm.
You're like halfway there.
That's how Glitch Mob like does all their stuff. I went to a few of their seminars, and they definitely like sit there and make like loops and sounds and stuff, and then kind of plug them in together and build them and like pass it back and forth, and like use the sounds that they picked for this specific song. And,
for dance music and electronic music production in general, I feel like that's like half the battle, is having cool sounds. 100%. So if you have a Rolodex of dope sounds ready to go, it's like, and then if you're making them on your own, it's like original sounds that no one else has. So it's pretty huge, I would say.
And it's lucrative too. If you make good sample packs, man, you can actually, you can buy some lunch with that.
Totally. Yeah. I mean, it's potential passive income right there. So
here's a question that we ask a lot of the guests, or all the guests. I forgot one of the guests, so I see some. We're a very privacy-based company. We focus a lot on having privacy. What role does privacy take in your creative process? And do you think privacy is important when it comes to creating music?
I mean, personally, I feel like yes, it is important. But I could understand how that's hard today because of social media. There's this constant need to share constantly and share everything and share yourself in the studio like every day doing everything. And I think personally, I don't know, it could be different for other people, but personally, that kind of gets in the way of my process because I feel like I make my best music when I feel like no one is listening to what I'm doing and kind of like have the freedom to explore. And, the song might sound bad this hour, but, 3 hours from now it might sound awesome. And to not have to worry about like what anyone else thinks, that is huge for me. So yeah, I enjoy some privacy when I'm, really deep in a creative space.
Sweet. Yeah, I agree. I love collabing with people, but I'm always so in my head the whole time. Like, they're a better producer than I am. And this sounds bad, but it's going to sound good, but they don't know that, and it's, especially if you don't know the person. Like I can collab, me and Stefan work really well in the studio. Cause like, I'll just be like, that doesn't sound good. We're very honest with each other and stuff, but you get in the studio with somebody you've never really met and stuff. It can be really nerve wracking. I feel like,
and you feel like you have to like perform, and sometimes you're just not feeling it.
Yeah. I like to sit and listen to like tweak a sound for like an hour without somebody sitting over my shoulder being like, is it my turn yet?
Yeah. Like, are you cool with me working on this sound for like 45 minutes?
It's a skill to learn though. Cause like, it's also, if you can get over that uncomfortability, you can make some real good magic,
Totally.
Like, there's certain people I just collab really well with.
Yeah, I just on my drumming side, I just wrote and recorded a record with this reggae band called Groundation, and we wrote it in a group of like 5 people. And so coming from making a lot of music on my own, it was really a refreshing experience to like have all these people kind of putting their best foot forward to like make something great. So it's nice to have the balance. I think that it's good to be making music on your own, but then it's also good to work with people sometimes.
100%.
Yeah.
It's the only way you grow, really.
Yeah.
You can watch all the YouTube videos in the world, but
yeah,
you learn so much more within like a couple minutes just working with somebody, watching their flow. Do we have any questions in the audience? What's your favorite Shambhala memory?
Favorite Shambhala memory? Oh man. Either eating delicious poutine, which I think is famous. It's like there every year. This is incredible, especially after a night of raging. And then probably just being at what's the main dubstep stage called?
I've never been to Shambhala.
Oh, really?
It's like my bucket list.
I've only been to Shambhala once, so I'm not a Shambhala expert. The Village, I believe it's the Village stage. I just remember being there during, I don't even know, I think it was Skrillex or Excision. And it was like the most like insane scene, party, just environment I've ever been in. Because it's like 2 levels. You feel like you're in like a Star Wars Ewok village. And there's so many people. And the music is like insane. It's like the best music, best dubstep you ever heard. And I just remember like being like, wow, this is like next level.
I've never heard a bad story about Shambhala.
It's pretty nuts. Another story real quick. In the artist village, I was like, man, I really like would love to smoke some weed right now. And someone like a runner, I guess they have just like artist people that just basically get the artist whatever they want. And like 5 minutes later, this guy came with this huge nug. And it's just like the most beautiful Canadian nug that looked like he just like picked it from a tree. It's like the same color palette. It's like everything. It's like, oh, yes, it's incredible.
What's the other question? Oh, do you have any recommendations on smaller acoustic kits for small studios?
Acoustic drum sets?
Yeah.
Recommendations. I think for studio recording, you definitely don't need big drums. Like you can get like a 20-inch bass drum. You can kind of like do like a Frankenstein kit. I don't think there's one kit or company that makes a drum set that I would recommend, because at the end of the day, they're just like drums. You just kind of like work with them until they sound good. But yeah, like you can just get buy single drums. You can just buy a bass drum, buy a snare, and a hi-hat and a crash, and then you can at least play beats. So you could start there. That'd be like a nice small drum set for a studio.
Sweet. Let's see. Any more? Y'all have any more questions? Can you tell me one fact about yourself that people might not know about?
A fact about myself?
Yeah.
Oh man. Something that's not embarrassing.
Yeah.
Well, we didn't say that.
I mean, that's up to you.
It might be better if it was embarrassing. Oh man.
It's a hard question.
It's a hard question. I don't know. Let me think about it. Is there
Cool.
anything else? Sorry. Whoever asked that question, I'm sorry. I don't have a
Yeah, Lee has a question.
Okay. So we're going to go with this again. If you could take any musician, living or dead, out to dinner, where would you go to dinner?
Where would we go to dinner?
Correct.
Not who would it be?
Nope. Where?
Oh, where? Probably to just get some pizza or something.
Did you have someone in mind immediately when I asked that?
Not really. Bob Marley, maybe?
Bob Marley to pizza. Sold.
Yeah. Or Bob Marley to some I don't know if I'd want to bring in Jamaican food.
No, not in LA. That's for sure.
Maybe some
Tacos.
Mediterranean food or something like that.
If you're in LA, it's got to be tacos, I think.
Tacos,
Right?
yeah, that's true.
Taco truck.
But something where it's not a big deal.
Yeah,
Just
yeah.
have some food.
For sure. Do you have any shows coming up that you want to plug?
Yeah, I have a handful actually in March. I'm playing at Catch One in LA on
Sweet.
March 5th with Dim Saints, Taya, myself, Something, and Naughty Princess.
Oh yeah, that's a good lineup right
It's
there.
gonna be
Shout out to
sweet.
Naughty Princess. I haven't seen her in a while.
Yeah, shout out to Jasmine. And then March 11th in Santa Barbara for the Lucidity pre-party with Balk and Bump.
Woo!
This can be sweet.
My favorite show of last year was a Bonka Bump show at the Dirty Beatles.
Oh, I heard about that show.
It was next level, man. The
Yeah.
energy. There was people hanging off the speakers. There was fire dancers in a bus. They have that. They had the bus, and there was no room for the fire dancers. They put them in the bus, and there was
Jeez.
people spinning fire. It was safe. It was all metal in there, and they
Right.
had fire safety. But it was just it was a scene. It was.
Whoa.
I'd never seen them before, and I am mega fans now.
Yeah, he's got a lot of energy.
I've never seen somebody playing oboe so hard. I don't know her name. I think she played
Oh, the clarinet.
The clarinet. That's what it was. Yeah.
Yeah.
Oh my God. I didn't
Yeah.
know the clarinet could be so gangsta. It was so good.
I think they're bringing the clarinet back.
Yeah, she played that last show.
Yeah, she's
and
crushing it.
She was standing on the speakers, and there was just people headbanging.
Yeah.
It was a vibe.
Yeah.
Shout out to Dirty Beatles for throwing the best parties in LA, personally, I think.
Oh, actually, Louis Bagels is doing the Catch One.
Oh, cool.
I think he's opening it up.
Yeah, that's the homie.
Yeah.
That's awesome. Shout out to Louis. I don't know if he tunes in every once in a while. Yeah, I think that's about it. Unless you have anything you want to talk about that comes to mind.
No, not really. It's been a really good time, and thank you for having me. This has been awesome. It's been great to just get out of the house and play some music and
For sure, man.
share it
Thanks,
with everybody.
thanks for all the amazing music you make.
Thanks,
and
man.
Your incredible sets and just being a cool dude.
Thanks, man.
Yeah. And thank you guys for tuning into MobileCoin Radio. We're here every Wednesday with the best in underground music. We have Wiley Cable coming up. Week after that, we actually have the CEO of MobileCoin to come in and do a DJ set. And we're going to interview him about MobileCoin Radio and talk about what we are and why we're doing what we do. After that, we have EP is Cool. She's an incredible bass music. She makes really wonky stuff and runs a really cool label. After that, we have one of my personal favorite DJs in the whole world, Jeremy Soul. Who knows what he's going to do? We're bringing some incredible live visual artists who are going to do some really cool oil oil visuals. Yeah, so tune in. Oh, and next week, this is our first announcement. We just announced it tonight. We have Honeycomb, the amazing beatboxer, looper, doing a residency for us. He will be here every Tuesday at 6 p.m. We're going to be doing t-shirt giveaways. We're going to be doing MobileCoin tipping. We're going to be doing MobileCoin giveaways. It's going to be lit every Tuesday at 6 p.m. for the next month. I think we got 5 shows. Give us a follow. Hopefully you like what you saw. We're live every Wednesday at 6 p.m. Make sure you got a few more minutes to get some free MobileCoin. We're going to post that thing in the chat one more time before we switch over to another channel. Just follow the instructions. You'll get some free mob. Thank you again for tuning in. My name is Mark, and we'll see you next week.